Hi, welcome back. Today, I want to talk about how you relinquish your power in relationships. And at the end of this video, I will tell you exactly how to reclaim your power. One thing to understand is that we are constantly given opportunities to stay in our power or relinquish our power. From childhood, from being an infant, right? Like being born into the physical body, we are born powerless, essentially powerless. Our survival depends on our caregivers, right? Like when we're hungry, we feel that physical pain, we cry, and we are 100% dependent on someone else to come along and give us our sustenance. So that becomes a code for our lack of power in the world. And that becomes reiterated day after day, year after year, when we're told no, when we're physically moved, right? We can then download that as an idea of powerlessness. And then we become adults and we're still living from that conditioning of being disempowered. And there's a few ways that we relinquish our power every day in relationships. One way is worrying about what other people think, right? Do you make decisions based on what will people think? Here are a few examples. I can't make that kind of money. I can't take that kind of vacation. I can't speak my truth. I can't talk about what I really love, what really inspires me. If what inspires you is different than what your family or your friends tend to know of you, do you hold back because of what people will think? They'll reject me. They'll think I'm crazy. Any of those stories, that is relinquishing your power to relationships. You can even relinquish your power to a non-relationship, meaning what will the neighbors think, right? What will people say? Will perfect strangers judge me? Or a good example is I worked with a client and worked her through this, in that feeling if she didn't conduct herself in a certain way, that she would lose her business. Like she wasn't able to be authentically herself. Otherwise, she wouldn't get all of the clients she wanted. She wouldn't be able to make a living. That is relinquishing your power to relationships, even unknown relationships. This relationship you have to potential clients. So that's one way. Another way is relinquishing your power to a relationship is needing someone to behave in a certain way. For an example, your significant other, your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever your significant other is to you, if your happiness depends on, right? Like them approving of you or them responding in a certain way. So you might be a people pleaser so that you get that love and approval. That conditioning comes from childhood, right? That I know what works for me. I know how I must perform in order to get the love and acceptance that I want. So you may find that you people please. You say yes when you want to say no, because you feel that receiving, I mean, you're doing that to get love, to get approval, to get the response you want. That means you have given your power away. Instead of being authentic, you are being what you think they expect of you so you can get what you think you need from them. So that is a way of giving your power away. That's one way of giving your power away in relationships. It's a very powerful way that we end up being powerless in a relationship. Well, I need that person to act like this so that I can make this decision. I need that person to say this so that I know I am lovable and I am valuable. Reclaiming that power, calling that power back to you, and being willing to go, okay, I'm willing to know my value regardless of how those people react, regardless of how my husband or wife responds to this request, regardless of how they respond to this behavior or my sharing my vision and my dreams. I'm willing to know my value. I'm willing to love and accept myself, even when they're not responding the way I want to respond. What does this do? Well, it frees up so much energy between you and the other person, right? Because you have unconsciously and unknowingly put a weight on their shoulders that your worthiness, your value depends on how they behave. And if they don't behave that way, then it's their fault that you don't feel your value, that you don't feel worthy. You see that? So when you say, oh, I am willing to value myself no matter what he or she says, it releases them. It releases them from the responsibility that you have put on them for your self-worth, your self-value, your self-love, your self-confidence, all of that. So this energetic experience between the two of you is clean and clear when you reclaim your power. Now, one thing that this does is if you're in a relationship and you have relinquished your power in this way, usually it's unconscious, you have no idea you did it. You may have you probably relinquished that power to past relationships, right? And to relate the relationships with your parents. You have relinquished that power in the same way. And now, I speak about this so much that if we don't do the healing that needs to be done around our childhood and our parents, then we tend to go, oh, I was rejected by my father. He didn't love and accept me. So, and he never does. So we unconsciously seek out in our other relationships, often our relationships with our partner. Oh, we end up being with a person that's just like our mother or father, and we want them to behave better. We're proving ourselves, right? Like they'll be just like our parent. And so we're proving ourselves, like if I can just get them to love me and accept me and hear me, and then that means I'm valuable. And that comes clear back from our parents. So when you do this reclaiming work, you're not just reclaiming your power from your current relationship, you're going back in time and reclaiming your power from those past relationships. Because if you haven't reclaimed your power from them, there is a cord, an energetic cord from you connected to them, and it's still draining your power. So you get to, and it's fun to do this because this is powerful timeline work, right? What's showing up for you now means that it also gets to be cleared in the past. And when you reclaim that power, you are actually calling back parts of your soul that are left there feeling powerless, right? So you call back that piece. And then you are able to act and be completely independent and sovereign. I know my worthiness. I know that I am lovable. I know that I am desirable. I am good. All of that, regardless of what the people around me are doing. And when you do that work and you go back in the past, then you are healing that younger version of yourself. You are calling forth the power of that younger version of yourself. And you are releasing those individuals, whether your parents or your past relationships. There's a whole energetic release that then opens you up to receive all that you've been fighting to receive. No longer do you have to fight for it, because you have become willing to give it to yourself. Not only have you become willing to give it to yourself, but you realize that you are the only one that is capable to truly give it to yourself. When you do that, when you recognize I am capable of giving that to myself, then you receive it from everyone around you. You become a resonant match to those individuals who can give it to you. You become a safe place for those who haven't done the healing work that I'm talking about right now, and that you choose to do. You become a place of healing and safety for all of those around you. And you actually create so many loving relationships and trusting relationships, all because you did the work here. You did the work. You reclaimed your power. You said, oh, I'm willing to be sovereign. I'm willing to be the source of love, acceptance, of worthiness. No longer am I dependent on my partner, my parents, my friends to validate me, to prove to me that I am good. And that opens up so much freedom. Now, one way you can do this, I'm putting the link in here, is I walk you through the entire process of calling back your power, releasing those emotions. The first step is releasing your emotions, right? Releasing the stories that, oh, because this person doesn't respond the way I want them to, I've made that story that I am bad, I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable, right? We tap through that. And then once you've released those stories and you feel at least 51% lighter, right? Like, oh, I can see that I don't have to suffer with this story anymore. Then I take you through a process of calling back your power from all of those people that you unconsciously, right, have released your power to, relinquished your power to. You call back that power and own it for yourself. And I actually walk you through that. And so the link for you to reclaim your power from relationships is in the description in my bio, where you can go get that process and move through this in a powerful, powerful way that will absolutely transform your relationships with other people and your relationship with yourself. All right. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in.